Hello all. I have a couple questions for our board. What is the school system doing to help students graduate from high school and keep them engaged during school?
I can go ahead and start. Hi, my name is Nadia Combs, and really looking at those numbers, and it's really staggering because although I know our graduation rates are high, the biggest concern is what happens after graduation and beyond. So we have in Hillsborough County, we have a lot of choice programs. We have the IB, we have the ACE programs. We have some of the highest workforce credentials, students completing that. We also really try to make sure that those schools, those high schools, have a lot of different electives that students are interested in, as well as different clubs, such as Latinx community and different groups. So that way, no matter what school you go to, you can find a different club or a different organization. I think kids really want to make sure that they can connect with an organization or with a group, and that's one of the things that we try to provide, a variety of choices, even if you're high academics or maybe you're just working really hard to get that high school diploma. We try to offer a variety of programs and a variety of electives, as well as a variety of after school and before school activities.
I'll go. Good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Sheron Brown. I'll speak mainly from the standpoint of government. I will, however, applaud Pinellas County school system, the teachers, all the instructional staff, the superintendent on becoming an A district. And I believe that has happened as a result of commitment to youth through the very robust career and technical program that Pinellas County Schools has. And I would imagine in Hillsborough as well, there are programs to address the social and emotional development of youth. One thing that we've done recently as the city is partner with the school system to provide mentorship. So the mayor has allowed for each employee, not that every single employee is doing this, but each employee to be able to have 1 hour a week to spend volunteering in schools. We're looking at different ways to do that. Definitely we're in the high schools, but we're also now looking at starting with Thrive by Five, as a matter of fact, an Adopt the Center model that will begin the process earlier than high school. Additionally, other things that the city is doing is, well, for one, the mayor prioritized education and youth opportunities by making it one of his 5 pillars, which is the role that I currently fill. And so in this role, what it is for me to do, what my responsibility is to identify what are the best levers that we can pull. We do not have infinite resources, but what is the school system doing? What are nonprofits in the community doing? What are businesses doing? What still needs to be done? And where can the city leverage relationships and leverage our own resources to further what is already happening for our youth in St. Petersburg?
As a student myself, I feel like those are some very important changes to be making, especially because the school systems don't really work hard enough for the students. And I feel like that would be more of an improvement to allow the youth to know that the adults are on their side.
Absolutely.
So if I may add, good morning, Marcos Murillo, HCPS. With everything that Ms. Combs and Dr. Brown has been sharing, we're going even deeper in Hillsborough. We started last year. We created a graduation team that's cross-divisional across 4 of our divisions around being more intentional and focused on the individual students. We also have created a workforce program advisors in Hillsborough in our high schools that solely work on actually providing exposure and learning for our students of what's going to happen after they get their standard diploma. We're trying to graduate them and understand the importance of meeting all their requirements, and we're also taking the charge of preparing them for life when it comes to actually what's going to happen about your career, about your future, not only a job, but a career. We actually are very intentional in meeting with students. We tier the schools that have the higher needs of students that need to actually build their requirements for standard diplomas. And we have different strategies around how do we actually get them to that level. We have reduced our certificate of completion, so all of you are aware, drastically, even with the obstacles that were handed to us from the state. based on the intentionality of supporting the students. But one of the biggest things that the workforce advisors have started doing in our high schools with the seniors is asking what are they going to do after high school? And guess what the number one answer is? I don't know. So this is for us to do a better work around that learning and exposure by providing that partners like CareerSource and other partners out there are in our schools sharing the options that we have with our tech colleges, apprenticeship programs, HCC with our dual enrollment, and many other opportunities that are out there. They really do not have a clue. How can we be more consistent in getting them to understand the importance that, yes, we're going to get you your diploma, but we're going to guide you to what you're going to do with your life after your diploma.
And I also think that's like a very good thing to put behind it, because I was also one of those kids who was sitting in my senior year class before I came to CareerSource, where the teacher would ask me, what are you going to do after high school? And I would tell her, I don't know. Like, I have dreams and aspirations, but how am I supposed to reach that, and how am I supposed to get there? So the second question is, what can other organizations, the community, or parents do to help students graduate on time?
I think one of probably the most important things is to make sure that students are actually going to school. You know, our attendance rates are horrible. I mean, we were impacted even prior to COVID, but ever since COVID, I think families and parents have this attitude that, oh, it's okay to miss like one day every 2 weeks. When you look at the end of the year, that's 20 or 30 days that students are missing school. The absenteeism is so high throughout the nation, and especially in Hillsborough County. So we are working with our social workers, our teachers, so that way we go out to the community and make sure what's happening. Why is a child not going to school? Is it the transportation issue? What's happening in children's homes? There's a lot of trauma. There's a lot of challenges that families are facing, and now we have this storm, this hurricane that just impacted even more families. To make sure we're reaching out and being, schools have really changed. We're no longer just a school. We have food pantries in our schools. We have a lot of needs that children have. So schools have become the epicenter of not just educating children, but also supporting them. I think the biggest thing that we can do, and I think that Mr. Hartfield talked about, is mentoring. So many children need mentors in life. They need somebody out there to tell them their story. I know for me, I'm the first person in my family to graduate from college. I grew up in a very challenging home life, and just having a teacher kind of believing in me, or probably the biggest impact for me in my life was my bus driver. Someone who could see me every morning and see me at the end of the day. So having that consistency in a child's life is very important. So all of you out there is making sure that you're out there mentoring, finding people. There are so many children who just want to be checked on and who are looking for mentors. I think that's really, really important. What we're also doing is in high schools, in our high school classes, we're implementing soft skills in our English classes. Things that we all learned before, being able to look at somebody in the eye, talking to them, having that conversation, not being on your phone, when you're going for a job interview, or showing up to look, we all take it for granted, but some children don't even have those appropriate clothes to go out for an interview. So teaching those skills, and so those are some of the things that we're doing, and connecting with HCC, connecting with CareerSource, Future Career Academy, a lot of different programs, because at the end of the day, it's so hard to think about when you're sitting at graduation and you hear kids who have these huge GPAs, and you're sitting there going, I don't even know what I'm going to do next, and I don't even have food in my house. How am I going to get a job? How am I going to get out there? So we really need to do so much more than just education. We need to make sure we're helping the social, emotional, and also the economic impact of students.
That's actually my favorite part about CareerSource, actually. I have a mentor, and her name is Ashley. I don't want to butcher her last name, but I call her Miss Ash, and I really appreciate every 3 months that she checks up on me and asks me about school, and even the deeper conversations we have about life, because like you said, sometimes we just want people to check up on us. It's not always all good. Sometimes we fall behind. Sometimes we don't know how to pick back up the pencil and continue to go on about our day. Sometimes it's just hard. And we just want other people to acknowledge that, yeah, you're doing it and you're gonna go far. You just gotta work on it and you gotta keep going. Miss Ash pushes me a lot. When I tell her the schoolwork is boring, she's like, Reese, time yourself. You got this. So that's what I really like about CareerSource. Like, the people who support us and help us manage the classes, because it's harder to motivate yourself, so it's great when other people motivate you too.
Awesome. I love that. Very powerful.
Well, I think this is a very complex question that requires so much more, but I'm going to go ahead and take a stab. In addition to the mayor's Mentoring Matters program that we launched on August 30th, that is rolling every month, we are consistently enrolling employees to volunteer in middle and high schools. I think a bigger thing that we need to do is do the work to figure out how to answer the difficult question about how to change the mindset of families. That's something that will take probably decades.
Yeah,
Because you talked about the trauma, right? And the parents themselves have had trauma, and they don't have necessarily, not all clearly, but they don't have a positive relationship with school. And so because of that, they won't be able to then encourage their children to have a positive relationship with school. And we can keep going layer after layer as to why that is happening, and we do need to go layer after layer as to why that's happening, so that we can create those answers to begin to change that for future generations. That being said, there is a challenge that we're taking on to address this, and it basically is piggybacking on this research. We're in the process now as the city working on putting out an RFP for social science research to begin by an organization that can actually do social science research that will engage youth, engage families, engage the school system to answer the question, how do we best engage disengaged youth? Until we answer that question, we will continue to do all the things we're doing as adults to create all the opportunities for them. But if we are not talking to them in their language, in a way that they receive and respond to, we'll still be facing the challenge. And we're doing the research in a way where it's not just, the answer doesn't just benefit the city, but it benefits any organization that serves youth. And so we're very specific in the language to say that the research has to be done in a way where the research findings are generalizable, so that anyone in our region would be able to learn from the research that we're doing now. So we're hoping actually that research will be complete. The contractor will be selected in January, the research will be done by fall, and then we're able to share that information with everyone.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys are willing to answer the harder questions, because sometimes it's really tough to ask the questions in the first place. And I feel very heard with the way you were saying that you're gonna take a social test, because a lot of people don't like the whole feeling talk. It's really awkward. And it's a vicious cycle that needs to be broken, because it's the miscommunication that keeps everyone lagging behind. You tell someone, they tell someone else, and then the question gets lost in the wind.
So I'm just going to add to what the ladies have added, and when it comes to community, when it comes to actually getting people involved, they're expecting a lot from the school system, and we all know that they're expecting that every day. What we're trying to do is build the trust with the communities of the work that we're providing for our students. How more intentional and consistent. The word consistent has to be in between everything, between the plan and the outcome, right? But sometimes we miss the implementation and the consistency behind that implementation that we need to actually move through. But we also need to support the community and the parents to talk, let's say, foundational things like attendance is key. We need to have our students in school so we can actually provide all the services that our schools have for them to actually graduate. And now that we are even thinking about after the diploma, what we're going to do with them. We need them in school. So we need the support. It has to go both ways around. What do we need to make a student successful? And that's something that is key that we're communicating a lot more. We're out there when it comes to Hillsborough and actually getting into the community, sharing the programs that we have in place, sharing the steps that we're taking to improve our students and make sure that they graduate, that they walk that stage with that diploma, and their families are extremely proud of the work they accomplished. So all those foundational things, sometimes we keep thinking really high level, but we have to actually analyze why are we not making it at a certain level. We have to go back foundational to see what are the needs and who are the players and the experts around the work, like we have spoken from mental health and needs and economical support. But we actually need to drive through that agenda to actually continue to work and make our students better.
Yeah, I feel like those are like core importance to focus on, because mental health, social health, etc., like it all goes around in one circle. And mental health is like the main thing now, because at some points, I'm very sad to admit this to a Board County, but sometimes I would not go to school if I just wasn't feeling in the mood. Like if I was super sad, I didn't want to go to school because I felt like that would also impact the classroom. And I didn't like going to school and being disengaged because it felt like I was there for nothing. So this is my last question. What are you doing to help prepare us for college or other trainings after school?
I feel bad that I get to go first every time.
It's fine.
I think we almost have to go backwards to the very beginning. The Early Learning Coalition in Tampa, what they've done recently, they've identified the different zip codes where it's kind of dry deserts, where students are not getting the skills that they need. Unlike many of you, when you were in kindergarten, you learned your colors and numbers. Now students are expected to be able to read by the end of kindergarten, and those expectations are really high. So if you don't really have a good core with early learning, you're already walking into kindergarten feeling bad about yourself. Kids are reading, and what results? I was a teacher for a long time. What results is either kids being really isolated or very disruptive. So I think we have to start very early and making sure that kids get a really good core in early learning, and then introducing the workforce at a middle school age. Many years ago, I taught in Asia at a very young age, in middle school in Europe and all those other countries. In middle school, they start introducing workforce. They introduce many options. We know today that children can do so much better. They don't necessarily need a college degree. You know, AI is going to take a lot of jobs. Workforce development is really the future. So what we've done in Hillsborough County, we have 3 career centers, and we're opening our 4th one in Plant City. So that way students can go to technical and vocational careers, and they can actually be in their high school and still go to those vocational and technical programs. So making sure that students are able to see that, and we're also producing videos so students can see, hey, I'm an electrician, and this is what I do, and this is how I live, and I'm able to be very successful. I think for many years we had this thought that in order to be successful in America, you had to have a college degree. We know that's no longer the truth. Really, it's about learning a skill. If you learn a skill, no one can take that away from you. If you have a little bit of entrepreneurship, you can even do better. And so all of you who are out here in the workforce development, we want you to make sure you partner with us to be able to mentor and tell students that story of your life. So in our English classes, as I said, we're introducing that, we're exposing children to that, and we're letting them know that those types of careers can open up so much for them.
I feel like it's good to mention that like you don't really need college, because that's like the main focus surrounding high school. Everyone's like, gotta go to college, gotta go to college, gotta go to college. But like that's 4 more years of school, and then after you get out of college, it's like you still got a longer process to go. I feel like after you get out of high school, there should be other options other than just you gotta go to college, you gotta go to college. It puts more stress on the students close to the end of high school, because they're like, okay, gotta have a higher GPA, gotta be up there at the top of the block in the classes, and that's what stresses us out so much. I look older than I am because I'm so stressed about what's gonna happen next. I want everyone, without asking first, how old am I?
18?
52.
Nice guess, but I'm 60. Just kidding. I I am 19 years old, but I've been mistaken for a 21-year-old, a 24-year-old, etc. People have asked me if I could vote when I was 17. I'm more stressed out than most people because of school and the unapplication of the social system inside of school.